Welcome to the Depth Dive. Today we're venturing into the pretty captivating world of the Navgrahas.
Right, from Hindu mythology and Vedic astrology.
Exactly. And these aren't just, planets floating out there in space.
No, they're understood as conscious forces, divine forces, really.
Yeah, with a real impact on, well, how our lives actually unfold.
And what's really compelling, I think, is the word Graha itself in Sanskrit.
Oh yeah, what does it mean?
It means to seize or to influence.
To seize. Wow.
Yeah, so right away that tells you these aren't passive objects. They're like active players.
Active influencers shaping things.
Uh,
Okay, so who are these 9? Let's list them out.
All right, you've got Surya, that's the sun.
Okay.
Chandra, the moon. Mangal, which is Mars.
Right.
Budh, Mercury. Then Guru, who's also Brihaspati, Jupiter for most people.
Got it, Jupiter.
Shukra, Venus. Shani, Saturn. And then the really interesting ones, Rahu and Ketu.
The shadow planets, right? That's what they're called.
Exactly. And it's important to remember that the first group, Surya to Shani, they're physical planets you can see.
Uh-huh.
But Rahu and Ketu, they're different. They're mathematical points, actually.
Mathematical points, like where...
They relate to where the moon's orbit crosses the Earth's path around the sun. You know, the mechanics behind eclipses.
Ah, okay, so they're linked to eclipses.
Directly linked.
Yeah.
But even though they're not physical bodies, their influence in Vedic astrology is just, well, huge.
Okay, so our mission today, our deep dive, is really focused. We want to get under the skin of these Navgrahas, understand them through their stories.
Yeah, their mythological origins. Where do these ideas come from?
Drawing right from the source material, the myths themselves.
And if you step back, this idea of divine forces isn't new, is it? It's ancient.
Right, the Rig Veda, that really old foundational text.
Mm-hmm. It already praises Surya, the sun, calling him the Atma.
The soul of the universe.
The very soul, yeah. So that reverence, that was kind of the groundwork for developing this whole framework of 9 grahas later on.
Makes sense. So it was the Indian sages who really put this structure together.
Exactly. They fleshed out these 9 figures, gave each one a distinct personality, a divine identity, and crucially, a story, a narrative that explains their essence.
Okay, let's dive into those stories then. Where shall we start? Surya, the sun.
Sounds good. Surya Dev, the sun god. His origin is pretty powerful. He's said to be born from Kashyapa Rishi, a sage, and Aditi.
Aditi. She was one of the Adityas, right? Ancient solar gods.
That's her. And his iconic image, everyone knows it, is him riding a chariot.
Pulled by 7 horses.
Yep, 7 horses.
And those horses, they're not just decoration, are they? There's meaning there.
Oh, absolutely. It gets really insightful. They're thought to symbolize the 7 colors of light.
Like a prism.
Kind of, yeah. Or you can also see them as the 7 days of the week.
Ah, okay, that makes sense too.
So, as the sun, Surya is the ultimate source. Life, light, illuminating the world, but also like our inner vitality, our soul even.
The life giver, illuminator of the soul. Wow.
And it was fascinating is how this mythology, it links straight into his astrological meaning.
How so?
Well, he's the center of the solar system, right? So in a birth chart, he often signifies like a strong sense of self, leadership.
Authority.
Brilliance.
Yeah.
But maybe also a bit of ego sometimes. That potential is there too.
Interesting how the myth reflects that. Okay, let's shift. Cooler energy now. Chandra, the moon.
Chandra. His story starts with his birth to son of the sage Atrian and Asiya.
Okay.
But things get complicated quickly. Relationships, consequences. He was actually cursed.
Cursed? By who?
By his father-in-law, Daksha. Apparently, Chandra favored one of his wives, Daksha's daughters, over the others.
Ah, playing favorites. Never ends well.
Exactly. And that curse, the story goes, is why the moon waxes and wanes.
No way. So the phases of the moon are because of a curse.
A karmic thing.
That's the mythological explanation. Yeah, a karmic backstory playing out right there in the sky. Celestial drama with real effects.
That's incredible. It adds such a layer to the moon in astrology, doesn't it? Totally. It links Chandra so deeply to our emotions, our connections, relationships, and just that constant change, the cycles of life.
Always shifting, like the tides, like our moods. Okay, moving on. Mangal. Mars. This sounds, more intense.
It definitely carries a more forceful energy. Mangal is believed to have sprung directly from Bhumi Devi.
The earth goddess herself?
Yep. Born of the earth. And that connection, that terrestrial origin, it helps explain why he's associated with strength, courage.
Fighting spirit?
Fighting spirit, yeah. But also sometimes anger or aggression. It's like the raw power of the earth itself made manifest.
Born of the earth, embodying that kind of grounded, potent force. I can see that connection. Okay, next up is Budh, Mercury. The source mentions something unusual about his birth.
Ah, yes. Budh's lineage is, well, quite intriguing. He's said to be the son of Chandra, the moon,
By moon's son,
and Tara, who's the wife of Brihaspati.
Jupiter's wife.
A rather scandalous union, you could say.
Wow, okay. So how does that play into Budh's characteristics?
Well, it's often interpreted as contributing to Budh's association with, like, sharp intelligence, communication, quick thinking,
Makes sense for Mercury.
but also maybe a tendency towards duality, seeing multiple sides, sometimes even confusion, that complex origin.
A bit of celestial drama leading to the planet of intellect. That is fascinating. Okay, who's next? Guru. Brihaspati. Jupiter. He sounds wise.
Oh, very much so. Guru is revered. He's the teacher of the devas, the gods.
The teacher of the gods.
Yeah, so he embodies dharma that's like righteous conduct, cosmic order,
Right.
plus knowledge, wisdom, expansion, growth, abundance, all that good stuff.
Big portfolio.
Yeah, and he's the ruler of Thursday.
The teacher, wisdom, guidance, expansion. That fits perfectly with Jupiter's astrological vibe. Okay, after the teacher of the gods. Shukra, Venus. But he's the teacher of the Asuras.
That's right,
Yeah.
the teacher of the Asuras, sometimes called demons or anti-gods. It's a really interesting contrast with Guru.
It really is. So what does Shukra represent then? Is it all negative?
Not at all, actually. Despite guiding the Asuras, Shukra represents very positive things. Luxury, comfort, love, beauty, even immortality in a way.
Immortality. How so?
He holds this incredible secret knowledge called Sanjivani Vidya.
Sanjivani Vidya, what's that?
It's the power to bring the dead back to life.
Wow. The planet of love and beauty holds the secret to reviving the dead. That's profound. Makes you think, doesn't it?
It really does. A deep connection there.
Okay, now we're getting to one that many people find intense. Shani. Saturn.
Shani. Yeah. His story starts with a bit of sadness, actually, a sense of being overlooked. He's Surya's son.
The son of the sun.
Yeah, but the story goes that Surya rejected him, or at least was dismayed, because of his dark complexion.
Oh, that's harsh.
It is. And his gaze, Shani's gaze, is said to be so powerful, so intense, that even the gods fear it.
Feared by the gods. But these stories usually have layers, don't they? He can't just be purely negative.
Exactly. Shani, despite this formidable reputation, is actually a great teacher. He teaches those really invaluable, though sometimes hard, lessons.
Like what?
Karma, cause and effect, patience, discipline, structure, justice. He's often seen as the divine judge.
The judge. Not necessarily punishing, but ensuring balance.
Precisely. Ensuring you reap what you sow, guiding us to understand responsibility. It's not punitive for the sake of it.
So his influence, while it might feel challenging or restrictive at times,
Ultimately leads to things like long-term stability, maturity, understanding responsibility, and the rewards of hard work and perseverance.
okay, that paints a much richer picture. Finally, we get to the mysterious pair, Rahu and Ketu. Their origin sounds dramatic. Cosmic churning involved.
Very dramatic, yes. Samudra Manthan, the churning of the cosmic ocean.
Yeah.
Rahu and Ketu were originally one being, a demon named Swarvano.
One demon.
Right. And during the churning, when the Amrit, the nectar of immortality, emerged, Swarvanu sneakily tried to drink some.
Tried to steal immortality.
Pretty much. But Lord Vishnu spotted him, quick as lightning, and sliced him in two with his Sudarshana chakra.
Whoa! Severed him.
Clean in two. And those two parts became Rahu, the head, and Ketu, the body or tail.
And they became the shadow planets, known for causing eclipses.
Exactly. Both literal eclipses in the sky, and you could say metaphorical ones in our lives.
Metaphorical how?
Like periods of confusion, illusion, maybe obsession, but also detachment, letting go, and potentially huge spiritual awakenings.
So disruptive, but also potentially transformative. A real mix.
A very potent mix. And what's really revealing is how that myth, that severing, informs how they're seen in astrology.
Tell me more.
Well, Rahu, the head, is often linked to insatiable desire, ambition, craving, always seeking, because it has no body, no satisfaction.
The disconnected head, always wanting. Makes sense. And Ketu.
Ketu, the tail or body without a head, often represents the opposite. Detachment, liberation, spirituality, past life influences, letting go of material things.
Wow. So from the radiant sun, Surya, to these shadowy points, Rahu and Ketu, these 9 Navgrahas really do seem to cover the whole spectrum of life, don't they?
Absolutely. The whole gamut of human emotion and experience and, well, destiny. And it's amazing how these aren't just old stories. They're alive.
How do you mean alive?
Well, they're actively part of daily life and worship for so many people. It's not just abstract theology.
Right. You mentioned the veneration is common, like you find them in temples.
Oh yes, almost every Hindu temple will have a Navgraha mandala. That's a special shrine or area dedicated to these 9.
And Navgraha mandal, where are they usually placed?
Often at a pretty prominent spot, somewhere accessible so devotees can easily offer prayers.
And it's not just a group representation, right? Sometimes individual grahas get their own temples.
Definitely. Particularly in South India, you'll find temples dedicated specifically to, say, Shani, or Guru, or Shukra.
Really? Like the Navgraha temples in Tamil Nadu.
Exactly those. They're very famous. People travel there specifically to seek blessings from a particular Graha, maybe to reduce a perceived negative influence or enhance a positive one.
So people are actively engaging with these deities, seeking to balance the energies in their lives.
That's precisely it. It's a personal interaction, trying to harmonize with these cosmic forces, seeking blessings, help, guidance, mitigating difficulties.
Through prayers, rituals, offerings.
All of that, yes. Fostering a relationship, essentially, with these energies that are seen to govern different parts of life.
And it's even woven into our week. The source mentioned the days of the week being linked to them. I found that fascinatingly embedded.
Yeah, that daily connection really shows how pervasive it is. Sunday is Surya's day.
Sunday makes sense.
Monday for Chandra, the moon.
Moon day, okay.
Tuesday for Mangal, Mars. Wednesday for Budh, Mercury. Thursday for Guru, Jupiter. Friday for Shukra, Venus. And Saturday.
Saturday for Shani, Saturn. It's built right in.
It really is. A weekly rhythm tied directly to these celestial energies.
What about Rahu and Ketu? Do they get days?
No designated days like the others, but their influence is felt very strongly during eclipses, as we mentioned.
Right.
And also during certain specific karmic periods in a person's astrological chart called doshas. They mark significant times influenced by Rahu or Ketu, key moments of energetic shifts.
So eclipses and these periods are seen as really potent times.
Extremely potent. Times for introspection, maybe uncovering hidden things, potential turning points, all linked to Rahu and Ketu's impact.
Okay, so we've gone through the myths, the origins, how they appear in worship and daily life. How does this all tie back to us, to our individual lives and destinies? How do they connect to, say, my birth chart?
Well, that's where Vedic astrology really comes in. Jyotish Shastra.
Jyotish Shastra.
What does that mean again?
It literally translates as the science of light.
The science of light. Beautiful.
And it's this incredibly intricate system that essentially maps where all these Navgrahas were at the precise moment you were born.
Okay, like a snapshot of the sky.
Exactly. And Jyotish interprets that unique configuration where they were, how they relate to each other, to understand their combined influence on all the different areas of your life's path, your journey. The science of light definitely sounds like something we could dive into much deeper another time.
Oh, absolutely. It's vast.
But for today, let's maybe just recap the main takeaways from exploring these origins.
I think the biggest thing, really, is to remember the Navgrahas are so much more than just planets or points in space.
Right. They're seen as deities.
Deities, yeah, each with these deep, profound myths behind them. They embody specific energies, fundamental forces, operating out there in the cosmos, but also right here, inside us, in our own lives.
So maybe as you, our listener, go about your day, it might be interesting to think about these stories we've talked about.
Yeah, like how does Mangal's fiery birth from the earth connect to that feeling of drive or courage we associate with Mars?
Or how does Chandra's story, that waxing and waning curse, maybe resonate with our own emotional ups and downs?
Exactly. What can the stories themselves teach us about these cosmic forces, beyond just the astrological keywords?
That leads to a really good question to ponder, actually.
Which is,
for you listening, which of these Navgraha stories, or maybe the characteristics of one specific Graha we discussed, which one resonates most strongly with you? And maybe ask yourself why.
Exploring that personal connection, that could really open up a richer understanding of the energies playing out in your own experience.
A really insightful thought to leave things on. Thank you for joining us on this deep dive into the mythological roots of the Navgrahas.
A pleasure. Until next time.
Until our next exploration, keep pondering those cosmic connections.